Welcome. We've got this is live on KHTS. This is the Ask Brien Show, ASKBRIEN. That's the only way you can ever spell Brien. And we're here. We have my co-host, Heather DeSantis. Heather, you there?
Hello from good old San Diego. Next time, hopefully, I hope to be up in LA with you.
Heather's on special assignment. She's scouting.
I am always scouting.
Well, we have a wonderful guest. He's going to be on in a few minutes. He's in the studio, so we'll be back in a few minutes with him. But we have a wonderful guest. If you want to have an online company and you want to figure out a way to grow your company, this is the person. He's a very special guest. I've known him a short time, but everything that I've learned about him, he's just an incredible person. His name is Anthony Accetturo, and he'll be on shortly, and we're going to have a wonderful show. But before I get into that, Heather, we've been working on the Ask Brien radio show for a while, and hold on a second. And, we've got a lot of new things that we've been adding on. We have a lot of new videos, a lot of training videos to teach people about the Ask Brien. Ask Brien basically is a concept where people can learn about business problems and solve their business problems. And that's what really Ask Brien is all about. It was created to help people solve business problems, resolve business problems. People can't go to they may not have enough funds to hire an outside consultant. They don't want to talk to their parents or their friends because they don't want them to know that there's a business problem. That's how it was created. But now it's an educational resource. Now you can ask an expert and get a specific answer to a specific question. You can ask a community of people. They have videos, they have ebooks, and they've got a lot of new things that have been coming up over the next few months. So I'm really excited to be part of the Ask Brien team, and I'm just excited. But I'm also excited to have you as my co-host.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. Like seriously, I'll be listening. You are in for an amazing ride with us.
Well, and Heather, what have you been working on recently?
Oh my gosh. Well, planning. Okay, Brien and I are safe. We get to go to Barcelona in the coming weeks. We're going to be going to a major web summit where we'll get to share with you everything that we learn along the way. That's exciting.
Actually, it's Lisbon, and then we initially.
So we're going to Portugal. So excited to share with you all the lessons we learn, but kind of behind the scenes. But really on my end, just really following the news. I'm getting ready to launch a course, how to get on TV, and of course, anything I create, all of our listeners will get first access because I'm going to I've decided I'm going to give it to you all for free. If you become a member of Ask Brien. So
well, that's super.
Exciting.
That is super, and I think we're going to try to do a podcast or maybe a show when we're there. Why not?
Oh, why not? We'll be able to interview. I remember we were. I met Brien originally in New Orleans, and gosh, they had the head of virtual reality from Samsung, and I really think we'll be able to interview some amazing people. So I'm down.
They have some amazing people, by the way, at the Web Summit. I know the CEO of Intel, the CTO of Amazon. They've got, I think, even politicians are going. Al Gore, I heard, was going. There's going to be a whole bunch of people there, so it'll be very interesting.
It's going to be fun.
Okay.
So we will definitely be live there.
I think our guest is just about here. So, Anthony, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Okay, so Anthony, give me a little background about you. So, how long have you been? You basically do marketing for online companies, offline companies, both. What do you do?
I've done a little bit of everything. I've worked with marketing since I was 17. I got my first executive position actually before I was even at high school. So,
wow.
Kind of a crazy situation. I've worked in real estate for a big company, builds golf courses and skyscrapers, and did mass mailing across the country, emails,
oh my God.
AdWords, the whole deal. So got a lot of experience, and I went out and created my own agency. Since then, I've worked with probably I wouldn't even have a count, at least 500, 600 different companies.
Wow.
And did you do anything beyond marketing? What other things did you do for these companies?
I mean, I don't like to consider our job is really just like marketing, because when we come into companies, we we kind of take a look at what problems they're facing and try to build solutions for them. So, looking at if they need to scale, how to build systems to do that, software systems, fulfillment systems for e-commerce vendors, and just, sales systems, CRM. So kind of like the whole deal, trying to get them to where they're trying to go.
Well,
I love that. Here's the thing, though. Anthony, I totally agree with what you said, that I find, too, that so many people in our space get so bound down with what they're selling that it's amazing. And I agree with you that you are literally going in and helping these companies, like, okay, they want to increase their sales, they want to increase their database, and you're just giving them a very simple solution to their problem instead of getting really technical if it's going to be SEO or Facebook ads or Google ad buys. I love that.
So I have a question out of left field, because I always do. So are you working currently with offline marketing?
At the moment, we're not working with offline marketing. We've done offline marketing in the past, radio promotion, TV shows. Right now, we're primarily online, Facebook ads, Google ads, e-commerce. So pretty much online. I mean, we found a lot of success there. I mean, we've taken companies from zero to, $10, $20 million a year over, a 1 or 2 year period just using ads. So, we're pretty good at what we do. So we've been kind of sticking to that.
Those must be some incredible ads.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question, a realistic question. So somebody wants to take a company from zero to $10 million through your marketing. I imagine you've got to spend quite a bit. What is a typical return on investment from an ad? So if I spend $10,000 on an ad, what would be my expected revenue? And if it differs, tell me based on what factors.
Well, unfortunately, there's not a solid answer to that question because every business is so different. So if I'm working with an e-commerce client, I need to make their ads work within their margin. Really, every business, it's about their margin. So if I have an e-commerce client that's drop shipping products and they only make 20%, well, we need to cover the ads and make them a profit within that 20%. So if they have a $10 product, we really only have $2 to spend on actually selling the product and making it so they make some money out of it to pay their staff and, pay themselves in the end of the day. So every business is different. I mean, some of the companies, one good case study we had was a company like that. We deployed out into a lot of different areas. So we went with Amazon, we went with eBay, we went with Google Shopping, we went with Facebook Dynamic Product Ads. So we kind of split out in a lot of different channels, is what they're called, to try to pick up a little bit of revenue in each area. We wound up getting them a 20-time return on their investment. So every dollar that they spent, they brought back $20. Now, in other cases, when I've worked with companies that have, say, digital products where they're selling their knowledge, we're a little bit safer to bring smaller return on investment. So somebody that doesn't have any cost to produce their product, they're happy with a 2-time return on their investment. So if they spend $1 and get $2 back, they're happy because their product doesn't cost them anything.
So we're on KHTS. That's 1220 on your AM dial, and I have a question for you. So, can I send you a check for $10,000? You're going to send me a check back for $200,000?
It depends on the product that you have and what you're trying to sell.
Oh, I was just going to send you a check and thought maybe I'd get 20,000 money. Because
I love that. But here's my thing: Anthony, my question for you is, if I haven't done any of this, where should I start? Do I do Google ads, Facebook ads? Like, what's the process of when someone comes to you, like, where we start advertising first?
That's a good question. Well, I usually say you have to start somewhere. So it all depends on what type of business you are. So if you're an e-commerce business, you're probably going to want to try Google Shopping, which is if you go to Google and you search, say, a MacBook Pro, in the very top, you're not going to see the text ads that you normally see. You're actually going to see a picture of a MacBook Pro and the price, and those are actually paid ads. And you can get really, really high return on investment with those type of ads, and there's kind of limited competition. It's been getting more and more. It's still kind of a new channel. It's about 2 years old. So I usually recommend businesses go there. Businesses that have a lot of products will do really, really well there. Businesses that don't have a lot of products might not do as well unless they sell a lot of that individual product or there's a big demand for it. If you're like a local business, I'd usually recommend that you try AdWords, depending on the vertical. I mean, if you're in, the law industry or taxes or something like that, it's going to be very expensive, and you might be better trying Facebook and see if you can make anything work there. So you really have to start somewhere, and it's all based on the goal that you have, what you're trying to do, really.
So on the industry, all right, does it matter? And what I mean by that is, so if you just mentioned law, so is it, you mentioned Facebook is probably better than Google or these other concepts, right? How do you determine, is it based on the fact that it's a high profit margin, based on the fact that it's a service, based on, or is there a specific issue that leads you to believe that for instance, Google would be better or Facebook?
It kind of depends on your budget. So I probably should have explained that a little bit better. So if you're in law and you want to go into Google AdWords, the cost per click is really, really high on Google, and it's going to be a really hard market for you to compete if you're doing this by yourself. If you have an agency that has experience working in the law field, they'll kind of have a better way to work around and understand the dynamics of the market. But Facebook is kind of a newer platform. It's got lower cost per click, so there's a little bit more, how do I put it? It's a little bit safer for the advertiser just because they're not going to be spending $40 or $50 a click most of the time. They can kind of play around and get a feel for the network. This is if you're a new advertiser.
And obviously you would test that first to see before you scaled, correct?
Exactly. And the most important thing I should mention here is if you're looking to get into advertising, the first thing that you need to do is get conversion tracking set up. Because a lot of people think they can just go out and, create some ads and then they're going to make all types of money, but you need to actually track that. You need to know, you need to figure out what is a conversion. So if somebody is contacting you through a contact form or if they're calling your number, you need to set all that up so you can track that with call tracking, conversions, or form tracking. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but you actually need to track your results in order to scale and improve so you know what your return on investment is.
Well, I think that was an excellent point, and I couldn't agree more. And I don't think it matters what product or service you're in. If you can't track the information, if you don't know where people are coming to your site, what they're doing on your site, if they don't have that information, then you're just kind of throwing money out the window. But if you have that tracking information there, and then you see, oh my God, or even what's called a heat map to find out where on that site people are clicking or spending their time, then you can focus on that area. So I thought that was an excellent point, and I think that a lot of people are naive, and a lot of people do not have that tracking information or ability to find that out. Listen, when I am a lawyer as well, and I get phone calls all the time, and I ask them, and this is a good question for you. I get phone calls, and they go, Peter, I saw your ad on the internet. Well, that doesn't tell me anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would love to have that tracking ability where people would tell me that, hey, listen, they're calling me, and they would have to figure it out. But they don't know. They just say the internet. But when you have the software, it actually will tell you. So
yeah. So there's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Heather. What were you saying?
My gosh, no! I'm just really enjoying this conversation. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, and I can wait on my question.
But then Heather's going to ask like the most fabulous question ever.
I know.
So this all goes back to what's called attribution tracking. And attribution can get kind of tricky when we go back to what I said with the one case study I used, when you have multiple channels. Because in the new world, people, they go to multiple places and they hit multiple touch points. So you might send them out an email and they might visit your website. Then they might come back and they might see a Facebook ad a few days later. And then they might actually see you on Google before they buy. And these ad networks, they want to say, well, that's mine, that's mine. So whoever's seen it last will usually say, we got you that conversion. When you get a little bit more advanced with advertising and you have multiple channels, the next thing you'd have to look at is attribution tracking in general. And there's actually some really good providers out there that can actually take care of that and show you even from the first opt-in. So if you're running like a campaign where you're giving out a free asset, with an ad, and you want to see how many people actually came from that free asset, you can use attribution software to kind of figure that stuff out.
Now, okay, I'm a dummy. What is attribution?
Well, attribution is just basically saying, where did this sale come from? And if you want to kind of mess around with that and see if it did go through multiple different touch points, which one had the most weight on that? So let's say that you're running Facebook ads and you're doing email marketing and you're doing Google AdWords. And on all these platforms, you're doing remarketing, which means that after somebody comes to your website that first time, even if they don't buy immediately, you're showing them ads based on the actions on the site. So if they went to look at this flashlight, then you're going to follow them around the web and show them this flashlight. Now, the ad networks want to always say that, whatever the last action before they made that purchase was, which is called the last click attribution, that's because of them. We did this. But in many cases, that's not true. Sometimes you might have ran an ad on Facebook and Google's saying they have the attribution for that ad because they came through the Google ad last. Does that kind of make sense? Kind of a complex topic to get into, but it's very, very important once you start scaling.
Well, we will get into that. I just want to announce that we're on KHTS 1220, and Heather had an absolutely amazing question.
This is going to be the best
board.
question ever. All right, are you ready, Anthony? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Whoa.
So,
no drum roll?
Are you ready?
Where's the drum roll? Come on.
Okay.
I have to train you.
I'm the only one doing it.
Da, 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 da. Go!
Oh, by the way, ready? Okay, so here's my thing, Anthony. I keep hearing from people, and I'm excited to hear your opinion, that we can't just run ads on Facebook. We can't do Facebook ads without running ads to organic content because our audience will not buy as much if we don't give them free content. So what are your thoughts on that? And is there a ratio of how much content we need versus physically what we're asking people to buy?
Now he's going to have to get his calculator out. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so let me try to break that down. So again, it all depends on the business that you're in. So certain vendors that I work with or certain companies, I wouldn't recommend that they actually run content because they are, they sell 1 million products and the content really wouldn't be relevant to anything that they do. So in some cases, I'd say no, but in the other probably 80% of the cases, I would say yes. Creating content, making blog posts, promoting those blog posts on Facebook so people see those is really, really important because most people don't know who you are. The world's big. There's a lot of businesses, and you walk down the street and there's 100 different businesses you see, and you usually don't remember probably only a few of them if it's a new street you're going down. So, creating that first interaction and that first content that you give to them and you don't charge them anything for it is building trust between your brand and the customer. And it makes it that much easier when you actually try to ask them to buy for something. Now, as for a ratio, as much content as you can afford to do. If you could do a blog post every day, I'd recommend you do a blog post every day. That's really hard to do, and it's really expensive if you're going to promote all of them. But just on an SEO perspective, if you do, I think, a blog post every day, it increases your traffic, I think, like 1,400% a month, according to a HubSpot study they did, I think, about 6 months ago.
Just hold your thought because we have to take a commercial break, but we want to get back to Anthony. We want you to finish your question and your answer.
Don and Gino here. So we know you want to have fun learning about real estate and finance. You're going to want to tune in this Saturday, 9 a.m. to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here on your hometown station, AM 1220. We have some hot topics, as always, guiding you to personal financial wellness. And that's right, you don't want to miss it. So again, this Saturday, 9 a.m., and then we replay it online Sunday, 9 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. right here on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. Join us.
Do you know a single parent struggling either financially or emotionally in the Santa Clarita Valley? Single Mothers Outreach is an organization that focuses exclusively on the needs of vulnerable single parents. Single Mothers Outreach provides assistance with housing, financial organization, life and career skills, in addition to emotional health and support. Single Mothers Outreach also provides single parents with a community of people who understand exactly what a single parent goes through and the struggles he or she faces on a day-to-day basis. Visit singlemothersoutreach.org.
At the Burrito Factory, their motto has always been to serve quality food with fast, friendly service. But did I mention the taste? When it comes to authentic taste and huge mouth-watering burritos, the Burrito Factory is second to none. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or a catered event, Burrito Factory has the taste of Mexico to satisfy your craving. Burrito Factory on Soledad Canyon Road next to Chi-Chi's Pizza in Canyon Country. Stop in or call ahead, 288-0222.
Kids Charities present Grace Fest featuring Matthew West. Saturday, September 16th at Palmdale Amphitheater. It's Grace Fest, presenting Matthew West, co-headlining with Big Daddy Weave. Plus, We Are Messengers, Micah Tyler, For All Seasons, and more. Tickets as low as $15. Go to gracefestav.com or call 942-4111 for more info.
KHTS.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're listening to the Ask Brien Show. We've got a wonderful guest, which is KHTS 1220. We have a wonderful guest, Anthony Accetturo, and we also have my co-host, Heather DeSantis. Say hello, Heather.
Hello.
I didn't even say that. I just reminded myself. Good afternoon, Los Angeles. I forgot about that. Thank you very much. My trademark was off. Oh my God.
But we started with Rocky today.
Well,
so
I was very impressed.
I was very impressed because I didn't think that would happen. I was prepared to start singing. I actually had the lyrics up on my screen ready to sing.
Well, you know what? For the next commercial break when we come back, we're going to only have the tune. You can sing.
Oh, good. Perfect.
We'll find out. Who knows? Maybe you'll be discovered.
Oh, my God. Yeah, maybe.
And then you can do your own PR. Anthony, so you were answering that question to us, a wonderful answer. And just to everybody can understand where we were, Anthony was explaining to us about blog posts and the fact of what the percentage increases are based on how often and the frequency. So can you go over that? The last part we had was that if you put a blog post in every single day, through SEO, you'll increase 1,400%. What's going to increase 1,400%?
Your actual SEO coverage and your clicks. So I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've seen the study. We used to reference it quite a bit. But basically they did a study where they measured the effect in different industries, companies that posted a blog post once a month, once a week, and once a day. What they found is the companies that were doing it more often were seeing exponential increases in their SEO over the long term. So that means that they were getting more keywords they were being ranked on because they had more content, and overall they were getting more clicks. So the more content you can do, the better. Obviously, content is kind of hard to do. It takes a lot of time, and it has to be good content. So you can only do so much with the resources you have and run your business and, do your ads, all the other responsibilities you have. So as much as you can possibly do so, I recommend that you create content, even create, ebooks and free assets and, maybe even run an email list where you send email updates and different information about your different niche or your business or even sales to your customers on a regular basis. It's all considered content.
here I thought websites were dying, Anthony. Like, seriously, this is bad. Like, I gave up my website, and I'm like, I'm never going to do a blog post on my website. I'm just going to put it on Facebook because I see so many people in our industry primarily using Facebook for their business, and, man, that was some rawness and truth that you just kind of gave me.
Yeah. I mean, SEO is a long-term game. So what I tell people based on their goals is if somebody is looking to have an immediate action, they're looking to make 100 sales this month, they're never going to do that with SEO. Not reliably. There's no company that will be able to do that for you. If there's somebody that's telling you they will, they're most likely not telling you the truth because SEO is out of your hands. It's in Google's hands. It's in Bing's hands. They control the algorithms and they make the changes. So you have to kind of play by their rules, and you can read up on different SEO ranking factors if you want to see what those rules are. But it's a long-term game. So if you're posting maybe one piece of content a week, over a year, you'll have 56 or, have 52 pieces of content, somewhere around there. And that's all quality stuff for Google, and that's all going to get ranked for its own keywords. It's going to get its own clicks. Obviously, the more you do of that, the more coverage that you're going to get. And if you write something really good and a lot of people link to that content or you spend a lot of money promoting it on Facebook, it's obviously going to get a lot more attention from Google.
So when you say promoting it on Facebook, what are you talking about? You're talking about having a link to the blog and saying, hey, listen, check out the blog by Anthony Accetturo on the S. Brien Show about SEO. Something like that?
Yeah, it's something like that. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys see it because Facebook is always trying to bring new people into their platform, but every once in a while you'll probably see something that says, boost this post or promote this post for $10 now and get an extra 5,000 views or clicks or whatever word it's they're using their particular ads. So those are easy ways to boost blog posts to get some additional attention to them. And what that does is it creates sharing and interaction. People leave comments on Facebook and share it with their friends. And, the more engagement that post gets, the cheaper it's going to be for you to promote it because it's going to become more relevant to people. And if you get a piece of content that you've promoted for a long time, I've seen people that can get it for, a penny a click. So if you have a really good piece of content, it is worth promoting if you think it's helping your brand and you have your conversion tracking set up and you can see that people are actually buying as a result of this. It's definitely something you might want to consider, putting $50 aside for a week and maybe, pumping traffic to that.
Did you say a penny per click?
Yes. Yeah. I've seen people that, they can get clicks down to a penny a click. But these are people that have, 1 million comments on the post or 1 million likes. And they spent a lot of money. So that's not typical. And they've been promoting it for a long time. It's very relevant. So, and it's always going on Facebook. So who knows what that will be, next week or next year.
Now,
that's so interesting.
Go ahead, Heather.
Oh, no, I was excited with what you said. Sorry, I get so excited sometimes that I just, speak theater. You should know that by now.
I thought you just get excited because you're on the S. Brien Show, but that's okay.
Okay, I'm so excited, yes. If you, seriously, such a gift. No, but what you were talking about in regards to physically boosting content on Facebook, just to kind of bring it full circle to my world, someone got an article on Forbes, and from there they invested $2,000 to boost their article of content. And by doing that, it made them appear at the top page of Forbes, which then got them picked up by other media outlets. So I'm excited that you said that because there's so much magic that can happen when you not only focus on Facebook ads, but also focus on content and the value added for the consumer and customer.
So what are the components? You mentioned content, okay? We hear a little bit about press, which is part of content. We hear blogs. But, and I don't want you to tell me your magic formula here, but...
Remarketing is another really big component of this where a lot of people are not doing it. We go into new clients. I mean, there's two major problems we see when we go into pick up new clients that were either doing it themselves or they had another agency doing it. And those are... A, they don't have conversion tracking set up or it's not set up properly. So that goes back to making sure every everything set up. So just having conversion tracking set up on your website for your forms isn't enough. You're going to want to send off custom events for purchases, for add to cart, for initiate checkout, because each of those different actions, they're different intent points. So somebody that comes to your website and views and sends off, say, a view pixel on Facebook, they're going to be a lot less likely to buy than the person that came to your website and hit the add to cart button and you sent that event off to Facebook. So remarketing comes in, it basically says, all right, I want to see everybody that added to cart or started the checkout but didn't finish. And then I want to show them maybe a coupon, or maybe show them some additional offer. Maybe they get something free for coming back. Those are really important remarketing factors. And remarketing usually is your most profitable ad. So you'll see the highest return on investment there.
That's where you get your 1 penny clicks?
It all depends on the ad, but I mean, remarketing is very, 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 very cheap. In terms of, cold traffic outreach, remarketing is basically a very targeted audience, and you can usually, we've seen ads before that have done a 50-time return on remarketing, or sometimes even higher than that. So remarketing is huge, making sure that you have the right pixel set up on your website, and you're tracking different intent points. So when people are doing things on your site, like adding to cart, or submitting forms, or viewing pages, or starting a checkout, or even finishing a checkout, all those things should be hooked up to the Facebook pixel and the Google pixel. And all those events should be being sent back to your ad platform so you can use that information in the future.
We're on KHTS 1220 on your AM dial. All right, before you go, you need to explain to me, what's a pixel?
Okay. So a pixel is basically, when you go and you sign up for an ad account with Facebook or Google, a pixel is basically how you do your conversion tracking, but not only your conversion tracking, it measures everything that your audience does. So anywhere they go on your website, you're going to fire that pixel off. When they make a conversion, the pixel is going to actually fire that conversion. But there's different types of conversion events. So when somebody submits a lead form, that's a lead event. When they make a purchase, that's a purchase event. When they hit the add to cart button, that's an add to cart event. So what you can do is you can go back and say, okay, so this person added my product to the cart, but they didn't purchase. So I want to create an audience out of that person, and I want to show them an ad that now they're going to get 10% off if they come back and complete that purchase. So that's a pretty safe formula to use for remarketing. It usually brings back at least a few people, depending on how big your audience is. So if you're looking to get into remarketing quickly, that would be the easiest way, and a way that you'd probably see some profit immediately.
Well, what if you don't? Okay, so somebody's at the cart and they decide to leave. All right, how do I know how to connect with them?
Say that one more time.
How am I going to connect with them? If they haven't signed in and logged in, what tracking information? What is the tracking information capturing so that I know? I obviously it has something to do with cookies, and I'm not talking about chocolate chip, but
so you can't actually see who's in your pixel. Your pixel is anonymous. You can only see a number, so you might see that 1,000 people added to cart and 500 people purchased this month. So you can actually create audiences out of those and add or exclude those from ads. So you might make an audience of everybody that's ever made a purchase due to the purchase event from the pixel, and everybody that ever clicked that add to cart button or opened up the first page of your checkout. So that might be the initiate checkout audience or add to cart audience. And then you can create an ad with that audience to target just those people. You can't see who they are, but Facebook knows who they are. And so does Google, I should say. And pretty much all these ad networks have their own pixels now.
Wow, that pixel is a powerful tool.
Yeah, it's critical. If you're looking to get into Facebook ads and you don't know what the pixel is or how it works, you're probably not going to be successful. And if you are, it's like a chance of luck. Using that pixel and understanding how it works and making sure that it's installed properly. Let me clarify here as well that just taking the code from Facebook that they give you and putting it onto your website doesn't mean that it's installed well. There's a lot of plugins depending on the platform that you're using. If it's an e-commerce platform, that will set this up for you, so it links in with your shopping cart. And that would be something you'd have to research based on if you're using, say, WooCommerce or Magento or Shopify or Samcart or any of these different providers.
And so can you set which different places you want to do the tracking, or is it automatic?
So Facebook will just give you a code that they want you to put on your website, and that's just going to tell you one thing. When people go to your website, you can tell Facebook, well, if they go to this URL or that URL, then I want to add them into an audience, but you're still really not doing it right at that point. What you'll want to do is find a plugin that works with your shopping cart provider, and that will set it up correctly. So when people actually take actions on your website, when they're clicking the add to cart, when they're actually making that purchase, it's sending over the actual purchase value. That's how the pixel needs to be set up correctly. And the reason that's important is because if it's sending the purchase value in the purchase, then you can go into your Facebook console and say, hey, I spent $1,000 on this ad, but it brought back, say, $20,000 or $10,000 because all that information is being sent over the pixel.
That is truly incredible information. I don't think people realize how valuable this information is that we're learning today. I mean, this is just off the charts. I mean, you can actually make a business just off of if you listen to all the things on an online business. Wow,
that's one more thing I want you to be cautious of. Is there's a lot of courses out there and companies that are telling you if you pay $10,000 you're going to be an expert on this. I'd be cautious on how many of those programs you buy, because in the end of the day your experience is going to shape how well you work in these platforms, and you really just have to get out there and do this stuff. A lot of it is going to be very hard to learn from reading things until you actually do them and see how they work. It's going to be hard for you to understand. So the most important lesson I can say is just get out and start trying this stuff. Get your pixel set up some events, find the plugins you need to get it all working right. You can find a lot of resources to figure that stuff out with Google, and you should be okay to get started.
Well, we're on KHTS 1220. We're here with Heather DeSantis, my co-host, and Anthony Accetturo. Wonderful information we're getting here today. Heather, you had a question?
Oh my gosh. First of all, thank goodness for people like you. You start talking about carts and pixels and my eyes get glassed over. That's so amazing, but I cannot stand details. It makes me want to puke. So I really believe finding people like you who have had such black and white success and also money speaks is such a gift, because I know personally I could never do what you do, So here's my question. Generally speaking, when people work with you, is it project-based? Do you suggest business owners spend every month on advertising, or is it something we can just do when we have product launches? I'm new to this. What's your biggest suggestion?
It all goes back to business. So going back to the first thing you said, you could definitely figure this stuff out. It sounds really complicated, but like I said, once you actually do these things and you see what I'm talking about in front of you, it becomes so much more clear how all this stuff ties together.
That's what I tell all my legal clients.
Yeah, it sounds very complicated, but once you actually get going with it and you try it, it's not as hard as it sounds. As for pricing, we usually charge every client a little bit differently based on their goals and based on what we can do for them. In some cases, we'll set a fixed percentage of the ad spend. Some cases, we'll set a fixed retainer. If we have a lot of auxiliary services like content writing and web development. In some cases, we'll work out something completely different than that. So it's all based on the client. We go back and forth with them on their goals and where they want to go. A lot of times we wind up rebuilding their website because it goes back to the pixels not being set up correctly, and a lot of infrastructure issues that we have to take care of so we can actually advertise efficiently. So a lot of times it becomes more of a revenue share just because of the amount of upfront work it takes for us to get started.
Now, how does this apply? We haven't all that we've mentioned is Facebook and Google, all right? And obviously there are other places to advertise, and you still have the Bing network, you still have Yahoo, you still have other places, okay? And then there are all sub-places, even like Reddit nowadays, and even Quora now has started with the advertising. So, I mean, first of all, A, where can you get a list of all the different places? And two, how do you determine which places to go?
It's all based on, goes back to the goal. I keep bringing the same question up because every client is so different. Like, we'll have one client that does phenomenal with Facebook, but they don't do very well with Google. Then we'll have another client that does really well with Google, but they just can't make it work on Facebook. And then we'll have one client that just does good on YouTube. So it's really hard to say. You kind of have to test the waters, set a moderate budget. You want to make sure that you're spending at least what your product is worth on ads when you're doing testing. Because if you're, we've worked with companies that have products that are $8,000 or $10,000. They're not going to be able to get a sale as easily as somebody that has a product that's $19. So we usually tell them to set their expectations a lot higher, that they're going to have to spend more money up front. But it all comes down to testing and picking the right products for your goals. If you're e-commerce, you're going to want to go with probably a product listing network where you're actually showing your products to the customers as ads. And if you're, a local business or an online business, it's not really e-commerce, you'll probably want to go with outreach type ads, prospecting ads, and focus on remarketing.
Well, thank you. We're going to be back in a short minute. We're listening to KHTS 1220 with Anthony Accetturo and my co-host Heather DeSantis. We'll be back in a minute.
You've seen them on Spike TV's Bar Rescue. Now experience the Cajun Belle in Canyon Country. The Cajun Belle, a terrific mix of SoCal Creole and the most flavorful handmade cocktails in our valley. It's the happening place, beginning with Blues Night every Wednesday from 7 to 11. Thursday is karaoke night with all-night happy hour featuring $1 tacos. Friday is Ladies Night with the coolest DJ in town. Check out live cover bands every weekend. The Cajun Belle on Soledad opposite the Canyon Country Post Office.
Little Eye Leaders is the newest preschool in the Santa Clarita Valley. At Little Eye Leaders, our outstanding teachers lead with intellect, perspective, and heart. That means our programs provide a warm, nurturing atmosphere to meet the unique needs of each child. We believe that play is a powerful form of learning for young children. That's why our kids have every opportunity to learn through the magic and excitement of play. Parents, schedule a tour today by calling 303-0400 or online at littleeyeleaders.org.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetics, which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
Connecting Right is a new show from Dave and Sean, who brought you the podcast The Triggering. Dave and Sean will discuss everything from politics to taboo social issues and from local issues to what Trump is tweeting about to upset the left. And they will do this with no regard for being politically correct. Much like the podcast, nothing and no one is off limits. But because of the FCC, we've cleaned up our act a little bit. We've put some lipstick on this pig, and you'll love the new shade.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. We're on KHTS 1220 on your AM dial, and we're here with my co-host, Heather DeSantis. Hello, Heather. Hello.
Hello.
I don't know. Are you sleeping on the job again? All right. So we're back here with Anthony Accetturo, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guest. He's explaining to us all these online marketing concepts. He did have a background in offline marketing, but he's predominantly now in online marketing. And we were discussing other ad networks other than Facebook and Google before we left. So question was, so we've got Google and Facebook. People know about that. And then most people know about Bing Network, which I just recently found out is also the owner of Yahoo. But there are other stuff out there. There's Quora, there's ad networks, there's Reddit, there's other places. And by the way, we didn't even mention LinkedIn or Twitter. I mean, I'm sure they have some marketing and advertising. So let's get a little bit of feedback from those areas. What do you think about that other type of online marketing besides Google and Facebook?
So, we've experimented in a lot of them. We usually set up ads in the new ones as they come up just to see how they work. Like Quora just started an ad network very, very recently within the last 6 months, and we've been running some ads on there with decent success. So, it's a raw ad network. The conversion tracking isn't as good as we'd want it to be, but we are seeing sales from it, and that's the most important part. So, you have to be cautious when these new ad networks come out because they make a lot of changes to their algorithms when they first come out. So they can kind of be unstable at times. They make a change and your ad spend might shoot up, or you might have a really good week, then a really bad week, because they're still trying to figure out how to make an algorithm work and what changes they have to make internally so it's fair to the advertisers, and the customers, more importantly, are seeing what's relevant to them. Because if they see ads that make their experience uncomfortable, they're going to leave the actual platform. And for people like Twitter and Quora, that's the last thing that they want.
Now, do these other networks also have the pixel that you talked about?
Yes, yeah. So Bing has its own pixel. Quora has its own pixel. Pretty much all of them, they have to have a pixel because people need to be able to track their conversions in order to know if something's working. When you talk about offline advertising, which I do have quite a bit of experience in, direct mailing, you have to use coupons and all these type of indirect methods to track if something is working. And you're still really not that sure at the end because it's just not very clear. But with online advertising, what's working. You can see down to the exact person, who converted and why they converted and what ad they converted from. And even if they've seen 10 ads on their way to a sale, which ads that they were. So, the pixel part of this and conversion tracking is really critical to making these efforts work. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money.
So you know that David Meyer, who's 52, who's 6'1", bought something Marrakesh, Morocco, from your company, correct?
Yeah, they're, the ad networks don't want you to be able to find that stuff out, but there's some attribution platforms that will let you see that. As much as they don't want that to happen, you can actually see, when somebody made a sale, what were the ads they've seen before that. In general, you don't get too tied up in the individual person. You look at more of genders and ages and different affinities and things that they like. To try to use that data to further target new audiences based off your past success.
So am I going to have to install 50 pixels if I have a nationwide ad campaign?
Well,
this
no.
is why you hire Anthony.
Well, obviously. If I could afford them.
Yeah, the data is all segmented. So, Facebook will provide you data on, how many people were male that bought and how many were female and how old they were and what other interests that they might share. So, one purchase pixel is enough because you can say that you want to look at everybody that purchased that was male or everybody that didn't purchase that was male or that was female or that was between, 60 and 61 and that likes pancakes. So you can really target down, especially with Facebook. That's a big difference between Facebook and Google, by the way, is, Google is looking for searchers, people that are looking for things. You're primarily looking at keywords, but with Facebook, you're targeting people based off what they like in their profiles.
Well, so in Google, they're searching for that product or service, but in Facebook, they don't know they're searching for it. You're just telling them, hey, listen, this is something you might like.
Exactly.
So it is a different concept. So now we only have about a minute and a half left. So my first question is, what 3 ad networks would you market a product for and a service for? And that's going to probably be our show. So you've got a product and you don't have Facebook or Google. What 3 platforms are you going to market at for a product? And then go to a service.
Okay, so Bing is a really good ad network. It's sometimes more expensive. So if we didn't have those 2 networks, Bing would definitely be one. We would look into some third-party exchanges that are smaller. These are private exchanges, people that own ad space across different networks like Newsmax. We talked to them based on how much of their audience was relevant to what we were selling. And we might say Quora because we had some success with that. We'd also think about doing some direct mailing possibly.
All right, now we only have about 20 seconds left, so I need to know if you're trying to figure out what places to advertise, all right, and you've got Google and Facebook, you know them off the top of your head, that's your business. Where can I go to find that resource, to know all the different platforms that are out there?
Where can you see a list of all the
Is there a list?
I don't know if there's one that's maintained. I would Google a list of all the different platforms.
All right. Well, that was a great answer. And unfortunately, we've run out of time. We're going to have you back because you're just such a wonderful guest. We'll do an affiliate marketing, some other thing. You've got a lot of information. I'm very glad to have you on. I'm talking very fast because my producer's saying, hey, we got to go to commercials. That's how we make money. That's how Anthony makes money. Heather, fabulous as always.
Thank you.
Can't
so
wait.
Much.
All right.
Drugs are